Early morning light spills softly across the hospital entrance, painting the glass doors in pale gold. Nurses pass quietly with coffee cups in hand. Visitors pause, take a breath, and steady themselves before stepping inside. Everything moves with that familiar, careful calm that belongs only to hospitals at dawn. And there, just beside the automatic doors, sits a dog. He doesn't bark. He doesn't pace. He simply waits. His fur is clean but slightly worn, as if he's been here before, many times. His posture is calm, alert, not anxious, not restless. His eyes track every person who enters, not with excitement, but with intention. As if he's looking for someone very specific. A security guard notices him first. Then a nurse. Someone murmurs, "Has he been here long?" No one really knows. The dog shifts only when certain people pass. He straightens when an elderly woman approaches. He tilts his head when a young man in scrubs walks by. Sometimes, he gently rises, takes a step forward, then sits back down, as if deciding, not yet. A woman waiting near the entrance watches him closely. She's tired, the kind of tired that settles into the bones. When her eyes meet the dog's, something inside her loosens. Just a little. He doesn't come to her. He simply looks at her, calm and steady, and she feels seen. Minutes pass. Then more. The dog's tail moves once. Slowly. This time, he stands. He walks toward the doors with quiet confidence, as if guided by something deeper than sight or sound. The people nearby fall silent, watching as he positions himself right at the threshold, waiting, focused, certain. Because whatever the dog senses, whatever he's been waiting for, will change everything. The hospital always wakes slowly. Morning light slides across the glass doors, soft, pale, almost careful. Inside, the building hums with low sounds. Shoes against polished floors. Muted voices. The distant beep of machines that never truly sleep. Outside, the air is cool. Fresh with early sunlight and quiet breaths. That's when people begin to notice him. A dog, sitting just to the right of the main entrance. Not blocking the doors. Not begging for attention. Just waiting. He's medium-sized, calm, with fur that looks well-kept but lived in. The kind of dog you feel has belonged somewhere once, and still remembers how. He sits upright. Back straight. Tail resting on the concrete like it knows patience. His eyes are what stop people. Focused. Gentle. As if he's watching for something specific, not anyone, but someone. A nurse slows as she walks past. She glances down at him. Smiles faintly. "Hey there, buddy," she murmurs. The dog doesn't move. Not because he's afraid. Not because he's stubborn. Because he's listening. She steps inside, the doors sliding shut behind her. The dog's gaze follows, then returns to the entrance. Still. A security guard takes his place by the doors. He's been working here long enough to notice patterns. People rushing. People crying. People pretending they're fine. But this dog doesn't fit the usual picture. "Anyone know where he came from?" the guard asks quietly. A volunteer shakes her head. "Was here yesterday too?" The guard looks down again. The dog glances up at him briefly. Just long enough to acknowledge him. Then his eyes drift back to the doors. Minutes pass. Visitors arrive in twos and threes. Some talking softly. Some silent, lost in thought. The dog watches each one. Not eagerly. Not anxiously. He studies them. A man in scrubs walks out. The dog tilts his head, just slightly. He rises halfway, then settles back down. Not yet. A woman arrives with a bouquet clutched too tightly. Her shoulders are tense. As she passes, the dog's ears lift. He stands fully this time. Takes one slow step forward. Then stops. Sits again. The woman pauses. She looks down at him, surprised. "Oh," she whispers. "You're beautiful." The dog meets her eyes. There's no excitement there. No expectation. Just calm. Something in her face softens. Her shoulders lower. Her breath steadies. She nods to him almost like a thank you and walks inside. The dog watches her go. Then waits. Across the entrance, a woman sits on a bench near the windows. She's been there for hours. Her coffee went cold a long time ago. Dark circles rest beneath her eyes. Not from lack of sleep alone, but from worry that doesn't know where to go. Her name is Emma. She notices the dog when he shifts his weight slightly, repositioning himself in the sunlight. At first, she assumes he belongs to someone. But minutes pass. No one comes for him. He doesn't wander. Doesn't beg. He simply stays. Emma watches him the way tired people watch quiet things. Carefully. Gratefully. She notices how he lifts his head when certain people approach. How his focus sharpens, then relaxes. There's intention there. Purpose. She stands slowly, stretching stiff legs, and moves closer to the doors. Not toward him. Just nearer. The dog doesn't turn. But his tail moves once. Slow. Measured. Emma stops a few feet away. She doesn't reach out. Doesn't speak. She just stands there, sharing the space. For a moment, the world feels smaller. Quieter. The kind of quiet that doesn't press down, but opens up. Emma exhales. "I wish I knew what you're waiting for," she says softly. The dog's ears flick back for a second. He doesn't look at her. But he heard her. Footsteps approach from inside. A doctor exits, speaking quietly into a phone. The dog straightens. His posture changes, not tense, but alert. Focused. Emma notices. "So that's how it is," she whispers. The doctor passes. The dog watches, then relaxes again. Emma smiles faintly. She sits on the bench again, closer this time. Time moves gently. The sun climbs higher. The light grows warmer. People come and go. And then, the dog's tail moves again. Not once. Twice. He stands. Fully. Every muscle aligned. He steps forward and positions himself directly in front of the doors. Emma feels it before she understands it. Something is different. The air feels expectant. The security guard straightens. The volunteer stops mid-sentence. The doors slide open. The dog does not move. He waits. Because whatever he senses, whatever has guided him back to this place, day after day, is finally close. And when it arrives, nothing here will feel the same again. No one sees how the dog arrives. That's the first thing people begin to notice. He's simply there. Every morning. Just after sunrise, when the light turns soft and the air still carries a trace of night, he appears beside the hospital doors like he's always belonged there. The security guard on the early shift swears he checked 10 minutes earlier. Nothing. Then, suddenly, the dog. Sitting in the same place. Facing the same direction. Waiting. By the third morning in a row, the staff start talking about him in hushed, curious tones. "He was here again today," a nurse says as she pours coffee. "Same spot," another replies. Didn't move for an hour. They begin to greet him now. Not loudly. Not excitedly. Just small acknowledgments. Good morning, buddy. You back already? The dog doesn't respond the way most dogs do. He doesn't wag wildly. Doesn't rush over. But his eyes soften when he recognizes a familiar voice. His ears lift just enough to say, I hear you. Emma notices the pattern before anyone else. She's there again today. Earlier than yesterday. She tells herself she came for fresh air. For movement. But when she reaches the entrance and sees the dog sitting in his usual place, something inside her eases in a way she didn't expect. Oh, she murmurs. You came back. The dog turns his head toward her this time. Just briefly. Their eyes meet. It's not a stare. Not intense. It's calm. As if he remembers her too. Emma sits on the bench, setting her bag down beside her. She watches quietly as the morning unfolds. The dog doesn't move much. But he notices everything. A young couple enters, fingers intertwined. The dog barely glances at them. A man with tired eyes and slow steps approaches. The dog lifts his head, watches him pass, then relaxes. A child skips toward the doors. The dog's ears perk. His tail taps the ground once. But still, he stays seated. Emma begins to realize something. The dog isn't reacting randomly. He's choosing. Mid-morning, a volunteer approaches cautiously. She kneels a few feet away, keeping her voice gentle. Hey there, she whispers. Are you lost? The dog looks at her. Then past her. Toward the road. Then back to the doors. That's his answer. The volunteer smiles softly. Okay, she says. I guess you're right where you need to be. She leaves a small bowl of water near him. He doesn't drink right away. But later, after watching 3 more people enter, he lowers his head and takes a few slow sips. Then returns to watching. Emma notices that too. Always returning. By the afternoon, more people are aware of him. A doctor pauses to ask security if they should call animal control. The guard shakes his head. He's calm, he says. Not bothering anyone. Emma feels a sudden, unexpected protectiveness. He's waiting, she says quietly. The guard looks at her. For what? She watches the dog as he scans the entrance again. I don't know, she admits. But it feels important. The guard nods slowly. They let the dog stay. And so the pattern continues. The next day. And the next. Rain one morning. Bright sun the next. The dog is always there. Same posture. Same quiet focus. Emma learns more without ever being told. He leaves at night. She's never seen him after sunset. As the light fades, he rises once, looks at the doors, then walks away down the sidewalk without looking back. And every morning, he returns. Emma begins to plan her days around those hours. She sits with him more often now. Not close enough to touch, but close enough to share the space. She talks sometimes. Not about anything specific. Just small things. The coffee here is terrible, she says once. The dog's ear flicks. She smiles. Another time, she sighs deeply. I hope today's a good day. The dog glances at her then. Holds her gaze for a moment longer than before. It feels like reassurance. One afternoon, she notices something new. The dog reacts before the doors open. Before footsteps reach the entrance. Before sound. His body shifts. Head lifting. spine straightening. Emma sits forward. "You feel it too?" she whispers. The doors slide open. A woman steps out, eyes red, shoulders shaking. The dog stands. Walks toward her slowly. Stops a respectful distance away. Sits. The woman notices him. Her breath catches. She kneels without thinking. "Oh my goodness," she whispers. The dog doesn't move. He just stays. Present. The woman places a trembling hand on her chest. She laughs softly through tears. "I don't know why," she says, "but that helped." She stands, wipes her face, and walks away lighter than she arrived. Emma feels her throat tighten. That wasn't coincidence. That was intention. The dog returns to his spot. Back to waiting. Emma looks at him with new understanding. "You're not just waiting," she murmurs. "You're listening." The dog doesn't respond. But his tail moves once. Slow. Certain. Because whatever draws him here every day, whatever guides his quiet return, hasn't happened yet. And until it does, he will keep coming back. By the end of the week, the dog is no longer a secret. People don't ask if he'll be there anymore. They ask when. Did he come yet? He's outside, right? I hope he's okay today. The hospital entrance feels different now. Softer. Not quieter, but steadier. Emma notices it the moment she steps out of the elevator one morning. The tension in her chest loosens before she even sees him. And there he is. Same place. Same posture. Same calm attention fixed on the doors. She smiles without realizing it. "Good morning," she says gently, stopping near the bench. The dog turns his head. Just enough. Recognition. She sits, folding her hands in her lap, and lets the moment settle. Others are watching now too. A pair of nurses pause near the entrance, pretending to check their phones while keeping one eye on the dog. A doctor slows his stride, curiosity overcoming his schedule. No one approaches him all at once. It's like everyone instinctively understands. This isn't a dog to interrupt. This is a dog to observe. Emma begins to notice details she hadn't before. How the dog's ears shift before anyone reaches the doors. How his breathing changes, slow becoming slower, when certain people pass. He's not scanning faces. He's sensing something deeper. Energy. Emotion. Something unspoken. A nurse named Clara sits beside Emma one morning. "You've been here a lot," Clara says softly. Emma nods. "Yeah." She hesitates, then adds, "It helps." Clara smiles, eyes drifting to the dog. "He does that," she says. People don't realize how heavy this place can feel, until something light shows up. They watch as the dog subtly straightens when a man approaches in a wheelchair. The man looks tired, but peaceful. The dog remains seated. Still. As if acknowledging, not needing to intervene. "See that?" Emma whispers. Clara nods. It's like he knows who needs him. The dog's tail taps the ground once. Then stillness again. Later that afternoon, a small group gathers near the entrance, nothing planned, nothing announced. Just people drawn by quiet curiosity. A volunteer brings a clean blanket and places it a few feet away, careful not to disturb him. A janitor leaves a bowl of fresh water. The dog accepts these gestures calmly, without shifting his focus. Emma realizes something then. Everyone is adjusting around him. Not the other way around. She watches as a man in a business suit exits, phone pressed to his ear, voice tight. The dog lifts his head slightly. Holds the man in his gaze. The man slows. Stops. He looks down, startled. The phone slips from his ear. Sorry, he says to whoever's on the line. He crouches without fully kneeling. You're coming, he murmurs, surprised by his own words. The dog doesn't move. Doesn't lean in. He just exists. The man exhales, deeper than before. Thank you, he says quietly, standing again. He walks away slower. Straighter. Emma feels her eyes sting. She hadn't expected that. Neither had he. Later, a security supervisor approaches Emma. You've been watching him closely, he says, not unkindly. She nods. Do you think he belongs to someone here? He asks. Emma looks at the dog. At the way he watches the doors, not hopeful, but certain. I think, she says carefully. He belongs to this moment. The supervisor studies the dog, then nods slowly. We'll make sure he's safe, he says. That evening, Emma stays later than usual. The sun dips lower, casting warm orange light across the glass. The dog shifts for the first time in hours. He stands. Emma straightens. This is different. He takes a step forward. Pauses. Then another. Not urgent. Purposeful. The doors slide open. A nurse exits, shoulders slumped, eyes glassy with exhaustion. The dog approaches her slowly, then sits at her feet. She stops short. Oh, she breathes. She crouches, resting her elbows on her knees. I didn't know I needed that, she whispers. The dog holds her gaze. Her shoulders shake once. Then she laughs softly. I'm okay, she says, mostly to herself. She stands. The dog returns to his place. Emma feels something shift inside her. This isn't random. This isn't coincidence. This is connection. As dusk settles, the crowd thins. The dog rises one last time. Looks at the doors. Then turns away. Emma watches him walk down the sidewalk, tail relaxed, step steady. She doesn't follow. She understands now. He'll be back. As she heads inside, a quiet thought settles in her chest. The dog isn't just waiting for someone to arrive. He's helping people leave lighter than they came. And whatever truth lies behind that, it's closer than she thinks. Emma begins to recognize the sound of his breathing. It's soft, steady, almost rhythmic. She notices it one morning when the entrance is quiet, the early rush already passed. The light pours in at an angle now, warm and honeyed, stretching long shadows across the floor. The dog sits in his usual place. But today, he's closer. Not close enough to touch. Not invading her space. Just nearer. Emma doesn't question it. She lowers herself onto the bench, placing her hands on her knees, and matches her breathing to his without thinking. In, out. For the first time in days, her shoulders relax fully. They don't talk much anymore, Emma and the people who pass through this space. Not about the big things. Not about why they're here. But something about the dog invites quiet honesty. A man sits beside Emma one morning, rubbing his palms together nervously. My wife's in surgery, he says, not looking at her. Emma nods. The dog lifts his head. The man follows Emma's gaze and notices him. He swallows. Funny, he murmurs. I haven't taken a full breath all day. The dog remains still. The man exhales. Slow. Deep. Then again. After a moment, he stands. Thanks, he says to both of them. He leaves with his spine a little straighter. Emma watches the dog, her chest tight with something warm and unfamiliar. You're doing that on purpose, she whispers. The dog's ear flicks. He doesn't deny it. Days pass. Emma starts bringing a small blanket, folding it neatly beside the bench. She never places it on the ground without looking at the dog first, without making sure he's comfortable with the change. He is. He shifts once, settling more easily. That's when Emma notices something else. He mirrors her. When she leans back, he relaxes. When she sits forward, alert, he straightens. Not copying, responding. As if he's listening to her emotions the way she's learned to listen to his. One afternoon, Emma finally speaks the thing that's been sitting in her chest for days. I'm waiting too, she says quietly. The dog turns his head. This time, fully. Their eyes meet. I don't know how long, she continues. Or what it'll look like when it happens. Her voice wavers. But I come here every day because it feels like the only place where something still makes sense. The dog holds her gaze. There's no pity there. No urgency. Just presence. Emma's throat tightens. She laughs softly through it. You're better at this than most people, she says. The dog's tail moves once. That's all. But it feels like agreement. Over time, the hospital staff stops asking questions. They start leaving space. The bench near the entrance becomes unofficially theirs. Not owned. Respected. A nurse brings an extra cup of water one morning. A doctor leaves the doors open a moment longer when he sees the dog shift forward. Emma notices how everyone adjusts around him, how he anchors the space without trying. One late afternoon, rain begins to fall. Not hard. Just enough to darken the pavement and cool the air. Emma hesitates. The dog is still there. Still calm. She moves closer than she ever has before. Slowly. Carefully. She kneels a few feet away. Is this okay? She asks quietly. The dog watches her. Then, he lowers his head slightly. Permission. Emma sits on the ground, legs tucked beneath her, the cool concrete seeping through her jeans. They sit together. No touch. No movement. Just shared stillness. A woman exits the hospital, eyes red, breath shallow. She sees them and stops. The dog lifts his head. Emma doesn't move. The woman approaches slowly. Can I? She asks. Emma nods. The woman sits too. For a moment, the three of them breathe together. No one speaks. When the woman finally stands, her hands are steady. Thank you, she whispers. The dog watches her leave. Then relaxes again. Emma feels it then, not a rush, not a revelation. But certainty. This isn't coincidence. This isn't habit. This is connection, layered and intentional. As the rain slows, the dog rises. Emma stands too. He takes a step toward the doors. Stops. Looks back at her. Her heart skips. Yes, she says softly. I'll be here. The dog holds her gaze for a long second longer than before. Then he returns to his place. Emma smiles, warmth spreading through her chest. She understands something now. This bond, it's quiet. Unspoken. But it's real. And whatever the dog is waiting for, whatever truth lives behind his calm patience, it's woven into her story now too. Closer than either of them realizes. By the second week, Emma stops counting the days. Time doesn't move the same way anymore. It stretches, softens, settles into moments instead of hours. The dog is there when she arrives. He always is. But now, Emma notices the smallest changes. Not in him, but in when he moves. Some mornings, he stays seated longer than usual. Other days, he stands almost as soon as the sun clears the buildings across the street. It isn't random. It's timing. One morning, Emma arrives earlier than she ever has. The sky is still pale blue, the air crisp enough to make her pull her jacket closer. The dog is already there. That surprises her. "You beat me today," she whispers. He doesn't look at her. His attention is fixed on the road, not the doors. Emma follows his gaze. Cars pass. People walk by. Then a bus slows at the corner. The dog straightens. Emma feels it in her chest before she understands it. The bus pulls away. No one gets off. The dog exhales and settles again. Emma sits, her heart still quick. "That wasn't it," she murmurs. The dog's tail moves once. Agreement. As the day unfolds, Emma begins to track it quietly in her mind. The moments when his ears lift. When his breathing changes. When his posture shifts from rest to readiness. It always happens before something meaningful. Before footsteps reach the doors. Before voices carry. Before faces appear. He knows. A nurse named Clara joins Emma later that morning. "You see it too, don't you?" Clara asks quietly. Emma nods. "Yes." "He's not reacting," Clara says. "He's anticipating." They watch together as the dog rises when a man approaches slowly with a cane. The man pauses when he sees the dog. "Well," he says softly, "aren't you a calm one?" The dog sits in front of him, unbothered by the metal clink of the cane. The man breathes out. "I used to have a dog like you," he says, voice thick but steady. He pats his chest, not the dog. "Good to remember how that feels." He walks inside lighter. The dog returns to his place. Emma's eyes sting again. Later, Emma notices something else. The dog never follows anyone inside. Not once. He meets them at the threshold and lets them go. That realization lands gently, but deeply. "He's not trying to change anything," Emma says aloud one afternoon. The dog glances at her. "He's just reminding them of something." The dog settles. The words feel right. By now, staff members schedule around him without meaning to. Deliveries are rerouted. Doors are held open longer. Someone even places a small sign near the entrance. "Please be mindful. Comfort dog present." Emma smiles at that. The dog never looks at the sign. He doesn't need it. One afternoon, something different happens. The dog doesn't sit right away. He stands near the doors longer than usual. Emma watches, heart slowly tightening. This feels familiar now. This is a pattern. "You're waiting for something specific today," she says softly. The dog's ears tilt back, then forward again. He steps closer to the doors. Stops. Emma rises to her feet. Not because she's afraid. Because she trusts him. The doors slide open. A young man steps out, eyes red, hands shaking slightly. The dog moves forward. Closer than he ever has. Still not touching. The young man freezes. He looks down. "Oh," he whispers. He crouches, resting his forearms on his knees. The dog sits directly in front of him. Perfectly still. The young man's breath stutters once. Then slows. "I didn't think I'd make it through today," he admits to no one in particular. The dog remains. Present. The young man closes his eyes. When he opens them again, his hands are steady. He nods to the dog. "Thank you." Emma swallows hard. She feels like she's witnessing something sacred. As the man leaves, Emma notices the dog hesitate before returning to his place. Just for a second. She understands. That moment mattered more. As evening approaches, Emma notices the dog checking the doors more frequently. His posture sharpens. His attention deepens. This is not comfort. This is preparation. "What are you waiting for today?" she whispers. The dog doesn't answer. But his focus doesn't waver. Then it happens. Not suddenly. Not dramatically. Just, distinctly. The dog sits straighter than Emma has ever seen him. Every muscle aligned. Every breath controlled. Emma's pulse quickens. The doors slide open. A woman steps out slowly, supported by a nurse. Her face is pale. Her movements careful. The dog watches her with absolute stillness. Then he lowers his head. Not submission. Recognition. The woman's eyes widen when she sees him. Her breath catches. "Oh my goodness," she whispers. She reaches out without thinking, then stops. Looks at Emma. "Is he?" Emma nods gently. "He's waiting." The woman smiles through tears. "I think," she says softly, "so am I." The dog remains still until the woman takes one full, steady breath. Then another. Only then does he relax. Emma's chest aches with understanding. This isn't coincidence. This isn't instinct alone. This is memory. This is love carried forward. As the sun dips low and the dog finally turns away for the night, Emma sits alone on the bench, heart full and heavy all at once. She knows now. There is a reason he comes back every day. There is a moment he's preparing for. And when it arrives, it will change the shape of waiting forever. The morning feels different before Emma can explain why. Nothing obvious has changed. The light is still soft. The air still cool. The doors still open and close with the same gentle hush. And yet, the dog is alert in a way she hasn't seen before. Not tense. Not anxious. Ready. Emma sits down more slowly than usual, as if she doesn't want to disturb whatever balance is holding the moment together. "You feel it," she whispers. The dog doesn't look at her. His attention is fixed on the doors, unwavering. People come and go, but today he doesn't rise for them. Doesn't tilt his head. Doesn't shift his weight. It's as if the rest of the world has gone quiet for him. Emma notices her own breathing is slowed to match his. In, out. Minutes pass. Then longer. The security guard checks his watch. A nurse pauses mid-step, sensing the stillness. Even the automatic doors seem to open more carefully. Emma's heart beats a little faster now. This isn't the gentle comfort she's watched for days. This is anticipation. A woman exits the hospital laughing softly into her phone. The dog doesn't move. A man enters quickly, eyes down. No reaction. Emma swallows. "You're not waiting for them," she murmurs. The dog's ears flick once. Agreement. Time stretches thin. Then, before any sound reaches the entrance, the dog stands. Fully. Perfectly. His posture is different from before. Not just attentive. Certain. Emma rises too, drawn forward by something she can't name. The doors slide open. A wheelchair appears first. Slow. Careful. A nurse guides it gently. The dog takes one step forward. Stops. Sits. Directly in front of the entrance. Emma's breath catches. The woman in the chair is older, her hair silver, her face lined with both exhaustion and relief. A thin blanket covers her legs. Her hands rest in her lap, folded carefully, as if holding something precious inside. She looks up. Her eyes land on the dog. Everything changes. Her breath stops for just a second. Then, her face softens in a way Emma has never seen before. "Oh," the woman whispers. The nurse pauses. "You know him?" she asks quietly. The woman doesn't answer right away. Tears fill her eyes, but she's smiling. "I do," she says softly. "I do." The dog lowers his head. Not bowing. Recognizing. Emma feels warmth rush through her chest, followed by a deep ache. The woman lifts a trembling hand. She hesitates, just like the others always do. The dog stays still. Permission without pressure. Her fingers rest gently against his fur. She exhales. A full, steady breath. The kind Emma hasn't seen from anyone in days. "I wasn't sure he'd remember," the woman says, voice breaking but calm. But of course he did. Emma steps closer, careful. "Remember what?" she asks softly. The woman looks up at her, eyes shining. "He waited for me once," she says. "When I was sick before." The words settle slowly. "He sat outside my room every day," the woman continues. "Wouldn't leave. Wouldn't eat unless someone stayed with him." The dog leans into her hand just slightly. "Just enough. They told me I might not come home," she says gently. "But he came back every morning anyway." Emma feels tears rise. The woman smiles at the dog. "I told him I'd be okay," she whispers. "I promised him I'd come back." The dog stays. Present. Whole. The nurse wipes at her eyes quietly. Emma feels the truth click into place, not loudly, not suddenly, but completely. This is it. This is the moment. The woman strokes the dog's fur once more. "I'm going home today," she says softly. The dog exhales. Slow. Deep. Like he's been holding that breath for days. Then, and only then, he relaxes. The woman laughs quietly through tears. "You can rest now," she tells him. The dog sits back on his haunches, calm, returning to his posture. Purposeful, filled. Emma feels her chest expand, light and heavy at the same time. The nurse begins to wheel the woman forward again. The dog watches. Doesn't follow. Doesn't need to. As the doors close behind her, the dog turns just once and looks at Emma. Something unspoken passes between them. Understanding. Gratitude. Closure, almost. But not quite. Because Emma realizes something as he slowly returns to his usual place. This wasn't the end. It was the turning point. And whatever comes next will be even more beautiful than the waiting. The next morning arrives gently. Not with urgency. Not with questions. With understanding. Emma reaches the hospital entrance just after sunrise, the light spilling across the pavement in soft gold ribbons. She half expects the space to feel empty now, unfinished somehow, after what happened yesterday.